Hey folks, welcome back, and this is a little bit of an update video rather than a straight up review. And there's a couple things I wanted to update, and we're going to get to it all, including something that I wanted to address with this guy. Yeah, this is the Combiner Wars Master, and there's something I really want to talk about with him, so we're going to get into everything in the latest GotBot True review. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot, and as always, please like, comment, subscribe, share, check out Machinery of Man, the Everything Factor. Look me up everywhere. And by all means, have a look around the channel and see what might be of interest. Recently, I did a couple of countdowns of Autobot Maximal leaders and Decepticon Predacon leaders. I wanted to do it differently, so I've done them sort of in chronological order. Granted, the Decepticon Predacon list was in a big way skewed toward the G1 Japanese continuity, though I feel like a lot of the multiverse fits in there because in my understanding you have you know, a lot of these incarnations of, you know, Megatron and Galvatron that I like to think sort of exist somewhat simultaneously. Generally they're followed by a version of Starscream for either a little bit of time or a bit longer, and then we go on from there, and I feel like the Japanese continuity sort of fills in a timeline the best. Same with the Autobots. After Optimus, we tend to get, you know, Rodimus or sometimes Bumblebee, and again, I feel like the Japanese continuity has just filled in those pieces a lot, so check those out. But I did want to, after it was pointed out to me by you know, friend of the channel, I'm going to call him Ben, and I appreciate the feedback, so you know, shout out there. It was pointed out that who I labeled as early Decepticon leader is actually Tranus, and I had left out Tranus, I'd left out Straxus and you know, a few other of the same minor warlords, and in that, I sort of listed them as being leader, or listed this early Decepticon leader as being someone who was taken out by Sentinel and was the leader before Megatron. And I just wanted to clarify something. Megatron was the leader, he left for Earth, and of course crash landed. There were still Cybertronians on Cybertron, including Decepticons, and there were a few sort of, I'm going to call them more petty warlords that rose through the ranks, and Tranus is the one who kind of went to the top for a little while until being taken out by Sentinel. And then Straxus sort of took over for a while until Megatron reasserted himself. So I just wanted to take a second to clear that up because a couple of people pointed out that the timeline was slightly off. Naturally, I took some creative liberty there. So that's part one that I wanted to update. I just wanted to kind of fill in that, you know, brief Transformers history for anyone that watched it and was a little bit confused with it. It was also pointed out to me that in the Marvel Comics, Grimlock had been a leader of the Autobots at one point, and or maybe a couple of times actually, and granted he was, but I didn't include him because I don't, again, I can't include everything in those kind of summaries, and it would be nice to, and I appreciate when this stuff is pointed out to me because it helps us all learn a little bit more about the lore. What can I say? I fit in what I could. For anybody who has something else to share, please by all means do so. I certainly love to learn more about the lore, and hopefully you do too. Anyway, we're going to move on and look back at this guy for a second. Now, I'm not doing a full review. I don't need to. I already looked at him in episodes, way back in episodes 47, and I guess the build video for Menasor on 48. And he is not a strong core. He is definitely the weakest core in Combiner Wars. We all know that. Nothing new there. And I really complained about not so much his hip joints, although these hip ratchets do leave a lot to be desired. And I'm going to just back this up a little bit. They do leave a lot to be desired. My big thing was in combine mode, having his shoulder pieces untab, and how much of an epic failure that was. And I tried doing a bunch of fixes for it. I drilled holes in the wind vane and put 5mm pieces through it for his fist to clasp onto. That helps, especially if your arms are so loose that they basically just drop down if you look at them funny. Mine at least tabbed in. You couldn't really move them, but at least tabbed in. So I didn't find that to be a great fix. I tried using the floor polish fix. That helped a little bit, especially in conjunction with we'll call it the wind vane fix here. But I wanted something that was going to really be pretty definitive. I even tried using some thickening agents on the pegs that tab in to give you those shoulders, and that worked okay, but again, you could end up tearing that off or something. It might not work right. So what did I do? Well, recently I managed to score a Battle Core Optimus Prime for $10, and his arm sections lock in fantastic. We all know that that tends to be the case, and I'm just going to point it out here if I can. If I can get this arm out, I'm going to try and point it out here. Let's try bringing this in closer. If you look, ooh, hopefully this will focus. If you look there on the forearm, you see a little rectangular peg. That little rectangular peg is the peg that locks the forearm in. On Menasor, it's just a straight up rectangle. But if you look here, it actually has a little bit of an edge on it. See if I can show it. You can call it. It's hard to see because I do have it kind of painted over now. But there's a little edge right there along it. And that little edge is what actually allows the forearm on the Optimuses, Optimi, whatever, to lock in. So taking this guy back and bringing this back. What did I do? I took that Battle Core Optimus, I took off his arms, and I put him on this guy. Now, a while ago I showed how to do a shoulder fix for Blitzwing, and I guess Double Dealer, and I showed what it was that I had done, or explained what it was that I had done. I couldn't really show it because after doing the fix and putting those relatively soft metal screws back in, I totally ruined the screw heads, and they just plain won't come out anymore. Well, the same thing happened here with this guy. There's a screw here and a screw here. You need to remove both of those in order to get this section off, and of course, you know, put them back in. The screw heads have been absolutely ruined on this guy. But I do have one arm left off of the Battle Core Optimus, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do this for yourself, so that you know kind of how this goes. And it's honestly, it's not too bad, to be perfectly honest with you. It was easier than I thought it was going to be. And the Battle Core Optimus, I find that you can put the screws in a lot easier with that guy. So, what did I do? I took out those two screws that I just pointed out, and I ended up, you know, taking a piece off, which I'll show you in a little bit, and I put the two Battle Core Optimus parts on, and of course I had to go paint it, so I painted them silver. I thought about doing a gray, but I didn't have a gray that was an exact color match, so I went with the silver. And I think it looks okay since his arms are kind of supposed to be more silver. So I think it worked out all right. I also, well, actually I'll show you the other paint app I did when I get him in truck mode. I'm not going to go through the transformation. I'm going to take this guy off screen. I'm going to put him in truck mode because we've seen this mold, I would imagine, a lot of times. If not, and you want to see the transformation, hey, go back. I covered it before, but we're going to take him off of the camera, and I'm going to bring him back looking like this. Now, granted, the silver sort of sticks out, and it would be nice if it was gray, but you know what? I can sort of dig the silver. I can dig the look of it. It's all right. I also painted the silver headlight gold, and the two little headlights are also a shade of gold now. And the bumper in between the two black pieces in the grille, I painted that silver just to tie it all together a little bit. I don't usually keep this guy in his truck mode very much anyway, so I'm okay. I'm okay with it being like that. Would it be nice to have it be gray, to be a little more perfect? Sure it would, but hey, I'll live. Now, that being said, you've seen him now in bot mode, you've seen him now in truck mode. I'm going to put him in torso mode and just show off if doing this, if bothering to do this was effective in making Menasor better or not. But there you go, one last look at the truck. And boom, there you go. We have Menasor mode, I guess you could call it here. I have the arms pegged in up on the shoulders as they should be. I even have a 5mm piece here still being held by the hand. And that's how he looks, you know, now as a torso. I'm going to put the combiner limbs in, and let's just see if it actually helps him at all as a full-blown Menasor. And bam, now we have a fully formed Menasor here. And let me adjust the camera. Now we have a fully formed Menasor. I shaved down the chest there a bit to allow the pegs to hold Blackjack, and he holds pretty securely now. I've discussed all of that stuff. This is purely about does it help. Well, his hips are still going to be wonky because I didn't do anything with that. Those hip ratchets and joints, they are what they are. But if you're like me, when you went to rotate either this arm or this arm, that forearm piece that tabbed in to become the entire shoulder assembly would unpeg. So now I have that pegged in. I still have something holding the hand. It's not needed, but I figure, hey, since I have it, you know, a hole already drilled in the wind vane, why not have the added security? But now I can take my Menasor and move this arm forward and back. As much as I like, it does not come out. What about on the other side? Same thing. I can move it as much as I like and it does not come out. Your best surefire fix for getting a Menasor that is better is honestly to get yourself probably a Battle Core Optimus, maybe a regular Optimus. If you don't plan to put your Optimus in a combined mode, change those forearm pieces. Change them. It makes this guy a world better. An absolute world better. He's still the weakest of the combiner torsos, but honestly, because his shoulders don't come out, I enjoy Menasor immensely more. I don't know why those little tabs were remolded without having the little lip edging on it to begin with. It never should have happened. So I'm going to take him off and explain to you, show you exactly what it was I did. When you take the forearm apart, you're going to end up having, you know, a piece like this. And you'll notice the plastic in here is, in here, it's almost like it's frayed or something on the Menasor mold. I did not notice this on the Optimus mold, interestingly. So we have this piece here. And your very first step is going to be to, I guess I should bring this up closer, shouldn't I? Your very first step is going to be to remove this, because Motor Master is going to end up needing it for his truck, and we have a different piece that, say, Battle Core Optimus is going to need. So we take that and we just remove it. It just snaps off, and we take the Battle Core Optimus piece and it just snaps on. And now we have a piece that looks like this, which honestly is still okay because the gold and the gold are the same color. So honestly, I'm kind of cool with this, to be honest with you. When you take the forearm apart, you're also going to end up with an inner forearm piece that looks like this. And this is where the combiner section is. And this combiner section is actually pinned. There's a pin right there. And that holds this. So when you put the arm together, this spring is going to just press into the other arm piece. And that's really what holds the tension. And you're going to have a fist. And you can see that the fist has a hole in it because it just slides on over one of the bars. And that's really what you have. And left attached, and I'm going to show this guy from behind because I have a plan for showing him front on at another time. You're going to have an assembly left that looks like this. An assembly that looks like this, where you have a hole here and a bigger hole right there. I hope you can all see that. You should be able to see it. Now, that being said, what is it that you got to do? Well, our goal is to make this other arm really look like this one over here. And you gotta have a little bit of an idea of how this is going to go now, I would think, because these elbows are oriented exactly the same way. Are they oriented exactly? Now they're oriented exactly the same way. My mistake. Now they're oriented exactly the same way. So where do we begin? You really want to kind of do one arm at a time so you can orient yourself. This piece needs to go turn around with the wheel facing up. And then this peg, the one that has the markings on it, that's what goes through this upper hole. Okay, we put that in. Now the other peg that's down here is what we put the fist over. And you should end up having an arm that looks, well, like this, basically. Now we need to put on the inner piece of the arm. And for the inner piece of the arm, you're going to want to have the combiner peg facing down. And really, you'll notice that next to the tire here, it's sort of notched out. That's what you need to fit this in around. Granted, the hand sometimes likes to get in the way just a little bit. And there you go. You snap that together and it will look like this. You can even put the hand back down. By the way, the combiner port thing still works fine. And you put the hand back down right there. Now, that being said, and we have two little screws. You're going to need, I would say, a precision screwdriver, and you're going to have to put them back in. On Motormaster, that's a huge chore. On this guy, not so much. Give me a second, I'm going to put those back in. And there is the, if it'll focus. There is the forearm with the two screws back in it. And that being said, though I'm going to show him back on for now because I haven't reviewed this guy or anything, we have a Battle Core Optimus, and here I'll even bring this up over his back. We have a Battle Core Optimus who still has two fully functional arms, and we have a Menasor that locks together a lot better. Anyway, that's it. Actually, I guess I can just leave him there because we are at the end. I hope this little update cleared up a little bit about the Transformers history stuff that I covered. I hope that you see that this really isn't that tough of a fix. You know, putting the screws back in is the hardest part. I was nervous about taking them apart. What if the mechanisms inside fell to pieces or something? But it didn't happen. Guys, if I can do it, I promise you, you can do it. It will make your enjoyment of Menasor so much more, and probably really not change your opinion of this guy at all. Of course, it depends on what you like as a collector and what your tastes are. Anyway, like I said, I hope this helps. Thanks for giving me some of your valuable time. And as always, I look forward to the next time that we get together for another visit right here inside the videos.